Hey, my name is Alex McMichael, and this is where I document my journey on creating a multi-million-dollar business. And today we're going to talk about two things: lead generation and then scammers. Trust, essentially. So first of all, the big thing that we're going through in our business right now is lead generation. We don't have a full product yet, so we're not even pre-selling the product. We're just trying to generate content and gain trust before we even launch the product. And the way you do that is by providing value and hopefully getting a email as a result of the value given. Now, something social media has made like really easy, but like I don't think people realized before that was a thing, is like how many times you have to make an offer or like have a touch point with a lead before you actually convert something. And so this is something that I realized like within the fourth failed business, is that if no one actually knows about your stuff, and if you're not actually telling people about your stuff, no one's going to buy your stuff. It's not just like a magic pill. It doesn't matter how good it is. If no one knows about it, no one can use it or touch it. And the interesting thing is like people really underestimate how many times you like have to have a touch point with the customer before it converts into a sale. Now, the reason that social media has made this crazy is that you can upload one video, it gets seen 10,000 times, and that might result in one or two sales. That amount of touch points was still happening before social media, before the internet. It was just happening in ways of like billboards and newsletter ads, magazine ads, and so on and so forth. Which means that business as the underlying structure hasn't changed at all, but social media has made it super easy to get that many touch points in at once. And so in general, the foundational piece of this is trust. And because there's way more things and way more touch points you can really utilize now because of social media, the way you can differentiate yourself is the way, like, building the relationship with your customers and creating some level of trust. Now, there's really, if you're posting content, you can do that for a long enough time horizon, and eventually you'll get a sale. Maybe someone's going to have to consume 10 pieces of your content before that happens. But there's other ways to generate that trust, like extract that trust sooner. And that's by providing them more value in another avenue other than something that's free, like content. And while what you give them might also still be free, it's a deeper connection. Like if your work acquaintances, if the only place you see them is at work, then they're just your acquaintance or your peer. But the second that you see that same person, but now it's inside your home or now it's at the bar, once you increase those number of touch points in the places that you're touching them, you have more trust, because Joe Schmo that sits in the office next to you, you know him, but maybe you have nothing to do with him, and that's the only way you know him. That's not your friend. Then you have the guy that your work friend that you would go to the bar or go to eat lunch with. Then the way they evolve to your legitimate friend is you invite them over to your house. They see your real living, and the same concept works in business. It's like you want to have several touch points in different environments, and so the way you can extract that much earlier, other than just free content and spanning across different social media platforms, which that counts. But you go from work acquaintance to work friend, but not really, like, you don't really have the full level of trust just because they saw you on YouTube or Instagram or so on and so forth. The way you can get your stuff into your house and really build that good relationship is with lead magnets. And the way you do that is you offer them some kind of whatever you're selling, like a free service. In our case, it's a lead magnet. Our target market is pregnant women, and so I spent literally this weekend writing a book with my wife to create ways to help nausea, and that's not even relatable to the product that we're ultimately going to sell, which is a body oil and a body butter. But we still get that touch point, and we're able to drop maybe one or two things about the body oil or body butter in a way that's like not slimy. It's just like, also, hey, you're already on chapter 3 of this book. Obviously, you already trust us. Like, let us also help you out with your stretch marks. And so that's a really like organic and good way to build that trust and turn what had just been passed over into a sale. The other way to do that with consumable products is samples. And if your product is really, really good, you can do that. Just, hand them a small free trial bottle. The reason that we went the route we did, which is like an information resource, is that doesn't cost us any money. Right now, we don't have any revenue, so it doesn't make sense for us to be shooting out a ton of money. We can instead leverage our time in writing like a valuable resource in a different way. And so you can, over those, 10,000 touch points that you would normally get at one sale if you were just posting free content, you can extract more trust and more customers and more sales by getting yourself into a different environment and touching them that way. Now, second thing I want to talk about, which I hope that I'm not coming off this way at all, is that like before I do these videos, and just like in general, I like to watch all kinds of business content because that's the stuff I like. But recently, and I don't understand why, I just keep seeing all these like scammer guys that are just regurgitating, other people's stuff. I'll give you the exact example. There's this guy, and he calls it his, you got to make your Godfather offer. And it's like, that's your offer that's so good that people feel stupid saying no. It's like, that sounds familiar. Like, you mean your $1 million offer? Wonder where you got that from. And I just, that's the stuff, like, you want to, like, you're creating content, you want to build trust, and then you just like regurgitate someone else's stuff. That's not to say you can't take that in, but also take in things from other people elsewhere, turn it into your own framework, things that actually work for you, things that you're actually doing, not just, let me just take the title of somebody else's thing and then slap it on whatever I want, and now I'm going to sell that and call it a day. That was the biggest piece of BS that it just really bothered me. And I realized that I don't think that I'm doing that, because I always give credit. I always say, like, Alex Hormozi says, Gary Vaynerchuk, Russell Brunson, Ryan Moran, so on and so forth. And that's like really big to me. You got to give credit to where credit's due. And like the non-scammer people do that. Like, people is a small world, especially if your target customer is the same as someone else's. If you just take their stuff and put it on your stuff, like, people are going to know that. And then you're going to be a scammer. You're going to lose all your trust. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, in previous videos I've talked about, just like the people who have like bad, the people that do awful things like that, like step on people and aren't like providing real value, they die off quick. I'm willing to bet, like, anytime I see something like that where they just like are straight up ripping off from someone else, I like never see them again. And that's either because it's the algorithm and like I see that and I move on, or they're going out of business. I can't say which, because it could have easily, like, the world's also big enough that I could just like not see their stuff again. But I, on the optimistic side of things, think that they're going out of business, because like that's unsustainable. Like, you can only steal other people's stuff so much before people start realizing, like, you are like, I can buy the premium, the real stuff, or I can buy the generic thing that's like not really that good, but like kind of might get you there sometimes. And so I want to make sure that I'm not going to do that moving forward. And I don't think I have so far, but like I'm really trying to impress in these videos that like a lot of the stuff I'm learning from other people, and I'm just trying to apply it in my own life and in my own business. And that way I can share with what has worked for me, because not what works for someone else doesn't always work for you. And that's because you have like minor differences and like other things you believe and also try. So in the framework of Alex McMichael, that's what I'm trying to share. I don't want to rip off anybody else's stuff and plagiarize, which is what scammy social media people do. That's all I got. Thanks for listening.